So I'm here again to speak about Nigeria. But first of all, I want to lay down the premise that as long as you are Nigerian, we're a collective. Whether you have jackpot, whether you have left the country, whether you're planning to leave, you are a Nigerian. And that inherently means that you carry the Nigerian struggle, you carry the Nigerian problem. That's why whenever you go, wherever you go, you're still treated like a Nigerian. So if we do not fix the underneath problems that we have as Nigerians, there's no running. We can't run away from who we inherently are. And that's the problem I've seen. I've seen that we are trying to just run away from the impact of our problems. So most times when we're talking about what's happening in the country, I see that we are just merely advocating the impact of our problems. We have not woken up to ask questions and find solutions. We don't even know what our problem is, but we can see the impact of the problem. But I think that our problem is an identity problem, a mental slavery issue, or probably, I'll say, a mental slavery trauma that we have carried from long before. It has been passed on from generation to generation by culture that has reinforced it without us asking, why do we do this? So I see that most times we come and think that changing our president is what's going to bring us the solution. Yes, that's good. It's good to get your voter's card. It's good to vote for someone that you think can change the landscape of the problem. But I don't think that's the end, because 8 years alone cannot solve our problems. And only one Messiah cannot solve our problems. I think what that person can do is provide an environment where it is possible for us to begin to raise this conversation and transform our identities. Because if we do not change the way we think as a country, there's nowhere we're going. We can't. And the interesting thing is, you can't run away from who you are. You are Nigerian. We're a collective. It's like a family. Sometimes I think we're in deep shit and we do not recognize. And do you know why? Because we are living in survival. Those people that are thriving, those that are in the government, those that steal, those that kidnap, those that do what they do and are able to get the monies from the masses, they look like they are thriving. And those people that are just surviving are trying to get to that place too. Because most of the Nigerian problem is rooted in the fact that if I'm not the one benefiting from the problem, then I hope to be someday. So you see that we can't even have straight conversation. If if your cousin is the bad governor, you don't really mind. If your cousin is the kidnapper and you're benefiting from the money that he's making, you don't even mind. Yes, kidnappers. Because just some weeks ago, kidnappers came out on TikTok and did giveaway. Guess who dropped their numbers? Nigerians. As long as they are benefiting, there's no. We need to get out of this place. And I'm not saying I won't have the answers to the questions, but I'm saying that we need to begin to have these conversations. Where are we going as a country? What is our problem? Where have we had, what are our crises, the identity crisis that we have? How can we begin to resolve ourselves as a nation? And I believe that this starts from the individual. If you don't begin to ask yourself these questions, we're not going anywhere. As a Nigerian, change starts with you. I know Buhari has bastardized that phrase that change starts with you, but I think it's the truth. If we can start from ourselves, ask yourself, what are the traumas that I have? What are the things I believe that are not really benefiting me productively and the community? Because I believe that Nigeria's mental health as a whole is warped because we have not realized our potentials. We are not able to cope with normal stress of life. We are not able to function properly in our society, and we're not able to, be work productively. That's the definition of mental health. And we don't pass any of this. We have a lot of resources, but we're still trying to survive. And you know what happens when the people try to survive? It's the jungle. It's jungle justice. So if you cannot survive, you have to, survive on you just have to survive. And it has to be that the system is warped. The system is so warped that the definition of success is when you're just better than your neighbor and will do anything just to look like we're fine. That's the mental problem. And it does not just end inside the boundaries of the country. Every Nigerian carry it everywhere they go. We need to become better people. And it starts from you. It starts from your family. I mean, if you can start to build a personal identity that serves you personally, productively, and serves your community. And from there, it turns into a family. I'm telling you that you already used your influence to better the community, because that family is going to start another family, and from there we'll become better people. But we're not even looking at that. Most times we just want a quick fix. And that quick fix is usually our voter's card. That's not bad. But if we want long-term impact, we have to have a down-up approach. So we have to start from the grassroots. It has to start from every mind of the Nigerian. And this is what I personally call the Nigerian dream. We don't have a properly structured Nigerian dream. All we do is hustle. And hustle is about being better than the next person. The hustle culture in Nigeria is so warped. But we need to come back to ourselves and realize that we're a collective people. And I think that if we can do this, if we can actually get to that point where we begin to develop ourselves personally, collectively, as communities, as societies, even our institutions, we have the potential, we have the resources, we have everything it takes, but it just looks like there is something holding us back, and these conversations are not being had. So this is me saying, this is a conversation we need to have, guys. We need to wake up. I saw a quote recently that says that a man that knows the meaning of life is a man that can plant a tree knowing that he's not going to sit under the shades. And it stuck with me. It made me realize that maybe the reason why we're not fighting for a better country is because we somehow know that we're not going to benefit from that country. And it has been proven through time, because I can make a bold claim that Nigeria has never worked. It just looks like it was working during our father's time because they got their jobs, they were able to do the basic things that they were doing. But if Nigeria worked, then we would have grown progressively. But it just looked like from that time, everything was deteriorating. There's no sense of progression, only regression. We have not grown from anywhere. And nobody is waking up to say, okay, what's happening? Let's have a conversation. What's the way forward? How can we move from here forward? Nobody's having that conversation. But we need to begin to have these conversations, even though it's not for ourselves. We may never see the perfect Nigeria in our mind. We may never see what we hope for. We may never even see what our parents enjoyed. But we can start the process that is going to bring that to life. Let's not be selfish. This may not be just for you. It may be for your children. Because if you survive through, you're just also creating a system where your children will have to survive too. And their survival mechanics and what they will have to survive through is going to be worse than what you survived through. So why don't we just fight for our country? Why don't we just die for the benefit of our country? Why don't we just do what we need to do? Because in the end, everybody's going to die. Whether you thrived on the problem of the country or you were the one that was trodden upon, you just have to pick a side. But guess what? I noticed that most of the people that dared to raise these conversations made impact. The impact is not very tangible, but at least they are remembered for at least making an impact. Then I hear this phrase every now and then, now who die, lose. Don't die for Nigeria. That's our problem. We think we're smarter than the people that try to do the right thing. But I'm just here to try to raise the conversation about how Nigeria can become a better country, how we can become better people. I don't even know exactly what we should do, but I think that if we can start from ourselves and if we can raise the conversation about the way forward, the problems that we have, then healing can start from there. Because if you don't know your trauma, if you don't know your pain, how can you begin to deal with it? It will just keep getting deeper. And like I said, we have a deeply rooted transgenerational, emotional and psychological trauma in our minds, and we need to emancipate ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for the generations coming. If you cannot see beyond what's just in front of your nose, I'm sorry, but you need to wake up. You need to wake up for the sake of generativity, for the sake of those coming. We need to wake up and begin to have these conversations. We need to do what we need to do, guys. It's not about physical fights. Maybe we'll have to get to that point, but I think it's more in our minds, more in our heads. Let's wake up, guys. And, the Japa culture, wherever you run to, if you do not deal with your Nigerian problem, it won't leave you. You can take the boy out of the village, but you can't take the village out of the boy. No matter how you try, if you don't actually deal with the problem. So guys, I want to hear what you think. I want us to begin this conversation. Engage with me, take care of your minds, and Don't stay where you are. It's okay not to be okay. What's not okay is remaining there. Take care of your minds. Peace.